Hello, dog family. I'm Asia and I'm a dog trainer. And today I would like to talk about a question that I hear a lot from my clients. And that is, why is my dog jumping all over everybody all the time? Why can't I make my dog stop jumping? Well, let's get into it. Now, if you like content like this about dogs and dog training, dog behavior, then I encourage you, please like and subscribe on my channel here for more fun topics like this. So, jumping with dogs. So, to kind of start with, it's important to understand that jumping is not actually like jumping onto somebody or jumping onto another dog is not actually an appropriate or polite dog behavior in dog culture. So even separate the human aspect of things, separate what we expect in our, human society for our dogs to act like. Even if it was just a bunch of dogs hanging out, the older dogs, the mature dogs in the group or in the pack are not going to appreciate a dog, no matter their age, whether they're a puppy or an older dog, that comes in and is just like, hey guys, jumping all over. What I like to tell everybody is it's basically the equivalent of if you meet somebody, like you're at a wedding or a big party or something like that, and you meet a friend of a friend or a family member of a friend, and they're just like intoxicated or just don't have good social graces, and they just come up and start slapping you on the back really hard, pinching your cheeks, and you're just like, who is this person? Like it's just not appropriate polite behavior. Some people might think it's kind of funny, yeah, for a little bit, but over time even they'll get annoyed with them. And it could turn into, hey, stop putting your hands on me, lady, man, whatever. Same sort of thing with dogs that are coming in and jumping all over everybody. So that's just kind of the baseline to understand. Because what I think is a misconception that a lot of clients that I talk to have is that they think, oh, well, I like when he comes and hugs me. I like when he's enthusiastic to see me, or she is enthusiastic to see me. And the problem with that is it's basically asking the dog or encouraging the dog to behave in a way like I just described, equivalent on the human side of things. And I always like to say, I'm not trying to anthropomorphize dogs, but I'm just trying to make it so that, we can understand them a little bit easier. So it's never like, pound for pound human behavior to dog behavior, but that's just an example to kind of like illuminate it using the guest at the party scenario. So when we are, so here's the thing, we don't want to whenever we're teaching dogs to not jump, it's not that we're trying to make it so that the dog is no longer enthusiastic to see us, and we're not trying to take away their personality. I hear that a lot, like, oh, I don't want to take away their personality, they're so vivacious, they're so outgoing, they're so sweet. We're not going to take their personality away. We're literally just teaching them how to be more polite and appropriate towards humans, but also towards other animals. Here's kind of the other side of it is, what if your dog, who's all, oh, hey, slapping with his paws and whatever, meets a senior citizen dog, or meets a senior citizen human, or a very young dog or a very young human, and they're just kind of, hey, what's up? That's not going to go well for anybody. If it's the older dog or older person, they could fall and break a hip, because they get knocked off balance. If it's a little child or a little puppy, they could get traumatized and terrified and then be like, I don't want to meet any more dogs ever again. Or they could get hurt, knocked over, split their lip or whatever. We just don't want that kind of thing to happen. So that's really, we're kind of always thinking ahead. We want our dogs, the purpose of training is we want our dogs to be able to move through the world with us gracefully, joyfully, and having all sides of, the process of meeting people, of interacting with the world and other beings in it, be as seamless and pleasant and just nice for everyone as possible, especially for your dog. When they're coming in all like, a crazy animal getting let out of the barn or something, what it's really demonstrating is that they're out of balance. Yeah. And so that's something that, whether it's a person on the receiving end or an animal, it's going to usually make them be like, this kind of resistance. And then how sad is that? Your dog is literally, every person they're meeting is going, or every dog they're meeting is going, that's not fair to the dog either. They want to be able to have other beings be like, hi, yeah, I'm excited to see you too. I'm excited to meet you, whatever. So how do we do that? So the question being, how do I make my dog stop jumping? Well, it starts first with not encouraging it. So how do we encourage? Now, some of you may have heard the famous adage by a very famous dog trainer who I won't name because I'm not sure how that works on YouTube if I'm allowed to talk about people, but they made famous the no touch, no talk, no eye contact, where, when we're first interacting with a dog, we actually want to be subtractive, where we don't want to be essentially feeding into the, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. We actually want to, as their, oh my gosh, we want to actually back away, even break eye contact, even turn away from them. I've even had one mentor say that it's like a hostage situation. So you're like putting your hands up and turning away. You're like, I don't like, I'm getting held up by this dog, like you just walk away, like, don't shoot, that might be a little bit of a, untimely example or whatever, but you know what I mean? I just feel like all that stuff with firearms is just a little bit of a touchy subject right now. But anyway, you get what I'm saying. So we want to be subtractive towards the behavior as opposed to stop, down. Believe it or not, that's actually adding into it. So people are like, well, what should I say? Say nothing. Be subtractive. Pull yourself away. Shut the door. Separate yourself between you and the dog. Close the gate. They have to stay behind the baby gate or whatever. I can't even come over there until you calm down. Sometimes what it may come down to is we need to integrate a little bit of crate training process into that. That's kind of a whole other scenario that takes a little more detail work. So definitely talk to your trainer or contact me and I can help you kind of work through that. But the short version of it is we may need to take the dog who's just, I'm losing my mind, and essentially put them away in the crate. We're not yelling at them. Again, we're not adding fuel into any fire energetically. We're just neutral. You need to cool off. We're closing you in there. Calm down until you can get your life together, type of thing. So, and we may have to do that over and over and over. So when we're training this no jumping stuff, patience is key. I think that that's the most challenging thing for the clients that I work with is they're like, I'm in a rush. I need to get in the house. I need to get the thing. I need to get out of the house. I need to get, whatever. Well, we're in active training right now. So please take the time to build an extra few minutes into all of your processes, especially these excitable moments. It's really going to be worth it. And it's not forever. It's, we're talking within a couple of weeks, you're going to see dramatic improvements if you can really stick with this. And then you won't have to factor in an extra 10 minutes for every time you're coming and going from the house because the dog will be in the rhythm with you. And it'll be like, oh, I'm supposed to sit when you come in. I'm supposed to wiggle my butt on the ground instead of jump all over you, whatever. So that's kind of the condensed version. That's the overview version of how we would address not jumping. And same thing for, when we're meeting other animals or other people, is if they're going to get too excited, then we're not going to do the greeting in that moment. They're just not ready. Now, there's a whole other piece of the puzzle here. I've talked in other videos about getting our dog's nervous system to learn how to down regulate. To me, that's really kind of the whole core. That's like the essence, the center point of dog training is helping our dogs learn how to, I'm excited. Oh, let me down regulate, that. And that's true for humans too, right? Like when we talk to athletes that are training for a big event, it's about not letting their heartbeat gets going. It's not letting them, their anticipation of the event or whatever, of the challenge ahead of them, get the best of them and dysregulate their nervous system. They're able to okay, I have a job to do right now. I'm going to go run my race. I'm going to go compete in my sport, whatever. So it's not that the dogs are getting ready to do a sport, but you know what I mean? We're teaching the nervous system how to downregulate when we're training, whether you're an athlete human or whether you're a little cute dog in a house. So that's kind of what's really important is talk to a trainer. These are all little components that fit together with the learning how to downregulate their nervous system. But it does start with things I've talked about in other videos. I'm going to sound like a broken record, guys, if you listen to a lot of my videos, because this is what works. But we want to be teaching the dogs things like sitting and staying. We want to be using positive reinforcement to really incentivize, like when you do it right, you get a treat or you get your squeaker toy or whatever. We want to be teaching them how to lengthen time so that maybe they can do a sit and stay for 2 seconds and then we can release them, but maybe they can get to 10 seconds over time. They can get to a minute over time. That's fantastic for a dog to learn. That fits right into what we're talking about, where they can learn how to down regulate. They can learn how to just hold steady. That is a huge skill that when a dog can master that, things like jumping just become so much less of a problem. And that's when we can start to introduce, different cues and things like that. Like instead of no jumping, it's just sit, please. Okay, sit and stay. Let the person come up to you, and we kind of build a whole process with that. So I hope that this helps you at least kind of get an understanding of where to start. It does, like I was mentioning before, take a timeline of a process. But the keys are to, be subtractive. Don't be adding into, the more that we're down yelling, then they're like, oh, everybody's yelling. This is fun. It's like subtractive. Separating the dog from the pack, so to speak, when they're being out of control, when they're being inappropriate, does wonders for most dogs. And then there are other little tools, like some folks will even integrate negative reinforcement with like a spray water bottle or something like that. But I caution with all of that because a lot of dogs will turn that into a game too. Oh, now we're playing with water. So it's just start with it being simple, start with being subtractive, see where you can go from there. And on the flip side, start building in behaviors of, can we sit for multiple seconds at a time, for a minute at a time, over time, and work with your local trainer or contact me. You'd be amazed what we can accomplish even on a Zoom session with these sorts of things. I have clients that I get to interact with every week from quite a distance away over video, and we're able to have all sorts of amazing behavior changes happen. So thank you for watching this video. It just shows to me that you do care so much for your beloved dog. So just keep being wonderful pet parents. Love your pets well. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.